sellout crowd in Orchard Park, and it is windy. Steve Tasker, you played here for a number of years. What are you looking for in terms of the wind?
Well, the prevailing wind comes from the scoreboard into the stadium, and it is a factor. You won't be able to kick the ball out of the end zone. Now, the Chargers will kick with the wind here in the first quarter. That makes a big difference. Once you get down towards behind where the Chargers are kicking off, that's going to be a factor in this game.
San Diego won the toss. They deferred to the second half. Novak's kick gets to the end zone, and C.J. Spiller will take a knee. E.J. Manuel in his second year really developing into a leader here in Buffalo. You look at his career numbers, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
And he's a guy that I think really people are starting to scratch their head and say, maybe we were wrong about this guy. Last year, you know, we talked to Doug Marrone. He said the guy did not get to practice enough. He never got any flow during the course of the season because of his injuries. This year, he's had the whole offseason. He really has a better command of this offense, and they're expecting him to execute at a much higher level.
C.J. Spiller on first down, and he gets a yard as we take a look at the Buffalo starting offense. Eric Wood, one of the captains on this team, his 6th year out of Louisville at center. And good news for the Bills, Robert Woods injured this week, but he's able to go.
Yeah, Robert Woods gives them a legitimate number 2 wide receiver across from Sammy Watkins. The Bills have a lot of athletes on the perimeter and expect them to use all of them.
Woods was limited by an ankle injury. Manuel to the air on second down, gets away from some trouble, running left, and he'll run out of bounds at the 25-yard line as we look at the San Diego starting defense. And Corey Liuget leads the team with 6 quarterback hits in 2 games. And as Steve Berline mentioned in our open, Dwight Freeney getting the start at linebacker, the 13th-year veteran out of Syracuse. And Brandon Flowers, inactive last week, but he's out there today.
And you're exactly right. Coming off a growing injury, it's great to have Brandon Flowers out there for that Chargers secondary. It really solidifies them and allows defensive coordinator John Pagano to run his full package defensively.
Bills have struggled on third down so far this year, just 33%. That's tied for 25th in the NFL. 3rd and 4. Manuel in trouble again, and this time he's not going to get out of trouble. Lunges forward, but he's short of a first down. Kendall Reyes makes the stop.
Well, if the Chargers can keep bringing the heat like this, minus Melvin Ingram early in the ballgame, it's only a 4-man rush that's getting around and forcing E.J. Manuel for the second time to flush out of the pocket. It's going to be hard for the young quarterback to get his rhythm if they can keep making him worry about that pass rush.
Yeah, it's a great job by the Chargers secondary, making E.J. Manuel come off his first read and find someone else to throw the football to.
Eddie Royal back deep for the Chargers, waiting Colton Schmidt's punt at his own 28-yard line. Kicking into the wind, Royal from the 26. And he's not going to get away. Duke Williams makes the special teams tackle for the Bills. Out comes Phillip Rivers in his 11th year. This is his 131st consecutive start. 5th among active quarterbacks with 225 touchdown passes.
You know, we read some things getting prepared for this game, and some people believe Phillip Rivers is one of the best quarterbacks to come out of that 2004 class, and that's a class where you call those guys by their first name. Eli, Ben, and Phillip. That's pretty lofty company, and Phillip Rivers is proving he doesn't have the championship to show for it, but his numbers are second to none.
Donald Brown spins away, but then Leotis McKelvin takes him down as we look at the San Diego starting offense. And Rich Ornberger getting the start at center again. Nick Hardwick out for the year with a neck injury. And Keenan Allen was questionable for this game with a groin injury, but he is active today, Steve Berline.
You're right. Phillip Rivers sleeping much easier last night, I'm sure, knowing that Keenan Allen was going to be a big part of the game plan today.
It is loud in Orchard Park, just like last week against Miami. 2nd and 8. Rivers has time, has a man open, and it's caught at the 50. Malcolm Floyd down the sideline and finally dragged down by Nikel Roby. A 49-yard pickup, Rivers to Floyd.
Well, what a great job of protecting number one up front, and it was one of those little pick plays you saw right there. The referees could call that. It's kind of a judgment thing. That was Keenan Allen coming down inside and getting just enough of that defensive back to free Malcolm Floyd up down the sideline.
I think one of the reasons they did not call it was because the receiver was tied up with the other defensive back and couldn't avoid.
Floyd did not have a catch last week as Danny Woodhead is pushed back on first down. Gives us a chance to look at the Buffalo starting defense. Mario Williams leads the team with 2 sacks. Such a dangerous front four as we highlighted off the top of the broadcast. At linebacker, Preston Brown, the rookie, makes another start for the injured Keith Rivers. And Stephon Gilmore, one of the corners here. You'll see Doug Marrone go with 3 cornerbacks today, Steve Tasker.
Yeah, they do have a lot of athletes and a lot of speed in the back end of this Buffalo defense. That looks like it's Danny Woodhead down for the Chargers, and that's a big loss if he can't return to this game.
Woodhead is down. We'll take a break, come back to Buffalo in a moment. We are back in Buffalo, and the cart is out for Danny Woodhead. This looks to be a serious injury. Woodhead needed some help getting into the cart. The 7th-year running back out of Chadron State. And he was a big part of the game plan today. As we mentioned earlier, Ryan Matthews, the lead running back for the Chargers, is out about a month with a sprained knee. So Woodhead was going to get a lot of the workload, and here in the first quarter he goes down, and take a look at how it happened.
Well, you're not going to have to look very far. I mean, even the most casual fan will be able to tell what happens to Woodhead when he comes out. Kyle Williams pursuing from the inside, lunges, and his right foot just gets caught right under Williams' arm, and that's the injury right there. And Danny Woodhead, you'd be hard-pressed to convince me he'll see the field again today.
Yeah, you don't want to speculate, but that did not look good, and they did not hesitate to bring the card out. All the players gathered around him during that break. Everybody very concerned for Danny Woodhead.
So the Chargers now with just 2 healthy running backs, with Donald Brown next to Rivers here on second down, and the rookie Brandon Oliver as the backup. They give it to Brown, trying to get to the outside at the 20, gets away from one. Brown still going inside the 10-yard line. First and goal, San Diego.
Well, you got the sense in talking to Mike McCoy and the other people involved with the Chargers that they weren't concerned about the fact that he was going to put more on Donald Brown. They really liked the luxury of having him. What I'd like to see him do right here, though, instead of stepping out of bounds, I'd like to see him lower that shoulder and fight for a few more yards.
Well, you would, but Mike McCoy might want him to stay healthy.
That's true, but
San Diego's been very impressive in the red zone so far this year. 6 possessions, 4 touchdowns. First and goal, and Brown is wrestled down by Searcy.
And I'll tell you, there is a lot of injuries on the Chargers side. They lost one of the key elements of their game plan just a moment ago with Danny Woodhead leaving the field. Now there's a penalty marker down in the back in the secondary.
After the play, personal foul, defense, number 51. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
John Perry is our referee today, and that penalty goes against Brandon Spikes.
And this might be a headbutt right here.
Ooh,
yeah, there you go. Ornberger drew the penalty on Spikes. But this is exactly, I was just going to say, this is exactly the type of game that a guy like Philip Rivers thrives on. All the odds are stacked against him. Guys like Philip Rivers don't wilt in these situations. They stand tall.
Donald Brown up the middle, gets to the 4-yard line, and not much more than that. Aaron Williams, the safety, coming up to make the tackle.
You're right, Steve, about Philip Rivers. He's the next man up type of guy, and he's not going to let this team soften up or feel sorry for themselves, but they're going to be running into the teeth of what I would consider to be the best defensive tackle tandem in the NFL, and Kyle Williams and Marcel Darius, and the crowd obviously is going to be a factor here as well.
And they're also doing it behind a backup center in Ornberger.
Eddie Royal on the comebacker, and he gets in for the touchdown. Eddie Royal with his first touchdown of the season, and the Chargers jump on the scoreboard first.
Well, brilliant call right here by Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator, former Buffalo Bill teammate of yours, Steve. They were expecting man coverage. Eddie Royal, as good as anybody in the NFL at these little quick screens on the outside. You see the lineman out in front. All they needed to pick up was that 2 or 3 yards, and it was a perfect time to make that play call and great execution.
19th career touchdown reception for the 7th-year player out of Virginia Tech, Eddie Royal.
You see there the ball rolling away from the long snapper there, Mike Williams.
Nick Novak's extra point is good. Impressive opening drive for San Diego, even without Danny Woodhead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at JaguarUSA.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Phillip Rivers to Eddie Royal, and the Chargers jump out to a 7-0 lead here in Western New York. First touchdown of the season for Eddie Royal. And now Nick Novak will kick it deep to C.J. Spiller, as we showed you earlier, took one back last week, 102 yards for a touchdown. Spiller will take a knee here, another touchback for Novak, kicking with the wind. It was the long pass from Rivers to Malcolm Floyd that set up the Chargers, and Royal capped off the drive. Thursday, your football week starts right here. This week it's a bitter rivalry between the Giants and Redskins. It's another big-time matchup in primetime. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and CBS. Long rivalry between these two, and the Giants have started this season 0-2 as they host the Houston Texans today.
I think that was a great start by the San Diego Chargers. They got the win in this first quarter. They came out with an urgency. Wanted to take advantage of that and try and take the crowd out.
C.J. Spiller on first down. Gets across the line of scrimmage. Gets one on the play as we go back to that touchdown by San Diego.
Well, let's look right out here at the top. You got Eddie Royal covered by Stephon Gilmore, but watch the two blocks right here. You got Keenan Allen right here and King Dunlap coming right there to make the two key blocks that pop Eddie Royal for this touchdown. Brilliant execution. The ball's out of Phillip Rivers' hands quickly, and there's not enough time for the Buffalo Bills to react and get on the outside and make the tackle.
And the word that we've gotten is that Danny Woodhead is questionable to return with a right ankle injury. On second down, Spiller again, and not much doing on the ground.
Weddle came right in out of the secondary untouched to blow that play up. I mean, this is just a great safety making a great call. Right here, he's on the line of scrimmage, and it looks like he may back off to go into coverage, but he doesn't. He comes right in, and he's the only guy there that can't be blocked by the Bills' front.
And that's something that a young quarterback needs to understand. And in his development, E.J. Manuel will understand. You got any indication there's a safety coming, you got to get out of that play.
And now 3rd and long, 3rd and 9 for the Bills. Manuel looking deep down the sideline. Flag is down, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Marquise Goodwin.
Marquise Goodwin, one of the young wide receivers, very fast player for the Buffalo Bills.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense, number 37, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Illegal contact, one of the points of emphasis this year, and certainly the referees have been enforcing it. Take a look at these numbers. Illegal contact and defensive holding penalties in 2013 compared to the first 2 weeks this year. Incredible.
That is an incredible disparity. I mean, you don't think it's a point of emphasis? That's the fact right there that proves you wrong.
So 1st and 10 from the 25. Manuel dumps it down to Mike Williams. Ball came out. And now they're saying he was down. Initially looked like a turnover. Eric Weddle came away with the football, but they pointed to the ground to say that Mike Williams was down.
Yeah, the referee from the far side.
There's a catch and down by contact. Buffalo will retain possession of the football.
The line judge from the right-hand side of the Buffalo Bills offense made the call, no doubt about it. Let's see if he's right.
Yeah, I think the ball came out. His elbow hit the ground. The ball popped out like a piece of popcorn. And that was a good call by the official right into Weddle's hands.
And no challenge by Mike McCoy. Manuel gets it to Chandler at the 30, and he's knocked out at the 35-yard line. And that's going to be very close to a first down.
be a little short,
Yeah,
but
it's
that's
going to be
just
a hair short.
and that's an obvious play call for the Buffalo Bills, because if you've got a quarterback who's had to scramble and is having trouble seeing the field, get him out of the pocket. It's a great call by Nate Hackett early in the game to get Manuel some easier completions. Looked like he struggled in that first series. They were 1, 2, 3 and out. To get him moving around is an easier way to see the field and also cuts the field in half.
3rd and 1. Summers at fullback. Fred Jackson is the running back. They give to Jackson, trying to get that yard, and he just falls forward for a Buffalo first down. Fred Jackson, 3rd on the Bills' all-time rushing list, trailing only Thurman Thomas and O.J. Simpson.
Well, so important for this Buffalo Bills offense to be able to make positive yards on 1st and 2nd down, whether it's through the short passing game as we've seen on this drive or through running the football. This is the number 2 rushing defense in the NFL from last year and one of the top teams so far through the first 2 weeks of the season. They're going to rely heavily on Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller.
This time it's Spiller, and he falls up to the 42-yard line. C.J. Spiller in his 5th year out of Clemson.
Well, C.J. Spiller, one of those few backs around the National Football League that the home crowd gets excited every time he touches the football. As you saw, 102 yards last week in the kick return for a touchdown. When he gets to the corner, not too many guys in the NFL can catch him, and the crowd loves to see him get to the edge of the defense.
Special teams player of the week in the AFC for week 2. Dan Carpenter, the kicker, was special teams player of the week back in week 1 when Buffalo beat Chicago in overtime.
One of the guys really excited about watching play some defense is 2nd-year player Manti Te'o out of Notre Dame. Fine institution in Indiana. You may have heard of it, but right there you see him read and run, key and run, coming up and making the play. He told us yesterday we met with him how much of a difference between year 1 and year 2 there is. He now feels like he knows where he has to be, and that split second that you save by making that quick decision is a difference between making a play and not making a play.
He said football is tough when you don't know where you're going. You're referencing last year on 3rd down. And we'll have to see where the spot is for C.J. Spiller. Jaleel Adai made the tackle, and it's good for a Buffalo first down. Another 3rd down conversion for the Bills with 5:10 to go in the first quarter.
This is great second effort by C.J. Spiller.
You're right. He got just to the line. They marked him just over the 47-yard line, which was just right. You see there, he gets past that stanchion there to get the first down, and this is the kind of drive that the Buffalo Bills kind of blueprint. They want to run it, get first downs on 3rd and short, and continue to move the chains, particularly against the wind.
At 5 minutes, this is now the longest drive of the season for the Buffalo Bills. Previous longest was 4:46, so they're over 5 on this drive. Manuel goes down the Woods, tackled immediately by Brandon Flowers. Came over in the offseason after leaving Kansas City, inactive last week with a groin injury suffered in practice, but he's back out there for the Chargers here.
Well, this is one. Watch when E.J. Manuel gets on the outside. He's going to have the man in the flat open for the pass, a quick pass. And an athletic quarterback like E.J. Manuel, he should have pointed and told that receiver to jump up the field, make the block. He would have had the whole edge out there to take the ball. He's so athletic. I think the coach Marone is going to tell him next time, E.J., take this ball on your own and get more yards.
They swing it to Woods. Gets to midfield and tackled at the 48-yard line. That'll bring up another 3rd down for Buffalo. With NFL Now, you can access the biggest NFL video library on the planet. Select your favorite teams or players, and NFL Now delivers non-stop videos on your favorite device. Get NFL Now free at NFL.com/now. All right, 3rd down here for the Bills already. 2 for 3 so far. It's 3rd and 6. Manuel trying to throw one down the sideline. Nobody home. Coverage on the play by Flowers as Manuel is looking for Robert Woods, and that'll bring out the punt team for Buffalo.
Woods couldn't get on top of Flowers, played it perfectly, stayed right on top of Woods, wouldn't let him get past him. E.J. Manuel tried to lay it out, and there's no way Robert Woods could get through Flowers to make the play.
I think another thing we're going to see out of John Pagano and his defense, they brought Eric Weddle up the middle on that play. In an obvious passing situation, I think San Diego wants to try and get E.J. Manuel uncomfortable by throwing different pressure looks at him.
Colton Schmidt leads the NFL in punts inside the 20. There's a flag down, 2 flags down. This one goes out at the 15-yard line, but there are multiple penalty flags on the field with 3:09 to go in the first quarter.
Now this will be a hold on San Diego on the return, and it could be an offsides as well.
Mike McCoy in his second year with the Chargers. Went 9-7 last year. Beat Cincinnati in the playoffs before losing to Denver.
He's changed a little bit since you first met him in Carolina. You were a teammate, or actually a player that he coached in Carolina, and he looks a lot different these days.
Play. Both are on the return team. Offside, number 52. Penalties declined. Holding, receiving team. That penalty will be enforced. 1st and 10. Timeout on the field.
Chargers football. When we come back, you're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. And by Bose, official sound of the NFL.
Chargers pinned back deep. Crowd comes to life here in Orchard Park. 3:09 to go first quarter. Chargers lead 7-0. Donald Brown on first down. And Danny Woodhead has now been downgraded to out. He will not return in this game after that ankle injury. Offensive coordinator, a familiar face here in Buffalo. It's Frank Reich, 10 years with the Bills. Steve Tasker's former teammate. We chatted with Mike McCoy yesterday. And last year, Ken Wisenhunt was the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, but McCoy said that he would actually test Reich during games last season on the sideline, come up to him and say, what play are you going to call here? Mike McCoy wanted to see what he had in Frank Reich. He was very impressed, and he got promoted here after being the quarterback coach last year, being the offensive coordinator, as Donald Brown gets a couple more on second down.
Well, Mike McCoy knew that Ken Wisenhunt was going to be in high demand with the way that Philip Rivers turned his season around.
His team is converting well over 50% on third down, and that's why they've been so successful the last couple of weeks.
Donald Brown converts, and there's movement on the line. And it looked like DJ Fluker might have jumped.
Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, and that's over 50% on every third down and distance, not just 3rd and 1. I mean, they get all the 3rd and 1s, and they get 50% of every third down they face. That is a recipe for success, and that's why a playoff team from a year ago in San Diego looks like they've taken a step forward here in 2014.
Rivers flushed out on the run, dumps it to Keenan Allen, knocked out at the 20-yard line. That was Leotis McKelvin knocking out Allen.
You're going to see one of the best illustrations of what Philip Rivers brings to the table. He is not what anybody would consider to be one of the best athletes, so to speak, in the NFL, but I think he is one of the absolute best in the pocket, buying time, creating a little bit more time for his receivers to get open down the field, then delivering the ball accurately for a positive play.
Brandon Oliver in at running back. The undrafted free agent signed with the Chargers, played his college ball right down the road at the University of Buffalo. Rivers looking deep. And it's incomplete once again, looking for Floyd, but Aaron Williams stride for stride. And that brings up 3rd and 9.
And this is why San Diego has been successful, but they haven't made their success on 3rd and 9. It's been 3rd and 4 or less for most of these first 3 weeks of the season. These 3rd and 9s are difficult, but that's exactly what Philip Rivers is all about.
Royal makes the catch. He's got the first down and room to run. Finally forced out at the 45-yard line. A 23-yard pickup for Eddie Royal.
Well, these fans here in Buffalo are very knowledgeable. They know how to impact the opposing team, but Philip Rivers not fazed one bit by it. Finds Donald Royal coming across the field. Got a step on the defender. Eddie Royal was targeted 10 times last week, 7 catches. This is the kind of position they want to get the football to him.
Rivers has started 4 for 5 as Donald Brown on the carry up the middle. You know, on third down, you look at San Diego's offense, you think they're going to go to Antonio Gates a lot, and they do 30% of the time so far this year. But also on third down, Rivers goes to Eddie Royal 30% of the time. He is a big factor in this offense. 5 seconds to go in the first quarter. Rivers is going with the wind here, but instead time runs out, and that'll do it. In the first, we'll return to Buffalo in a moment. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Welcome back to Buffalo. Start of the second quarter alongside Steve Tasker, the former Bill, and Steve Berline, 17-year NFL quarterback. I'm Andrew Catalon. We thank you for joining us. And if you're just tuning in, Danny Woodhead injured on his first carry of the game in the first quarter. He suffered an ankle injury. He will not return. San Diego already shorthanded with Ryan Matthews suffering an MCL sprain in his knee last week. So just 2 running backs for San Diego here the rest of the way. Donald Brown will see the bulk of the carries. He's in there right now. On second down, Rivers to Brown. At the 50 has the first down. Donald Brown into Buffalo territory. And a first down for San Diego.
You know what I love about Philip Rivers? Watch how quick he makes this decision. He looks down the field and says, oh, they come with a little bit of pressure. No one's covering my back out of the backfield. There's no hesitation in his decision making. That ball is in his receiver's hands before the defense can even adjust.
Yeah, he's counted heads before he even looks out there. He doesn't even look to see if anybody's out there. He knows there's nobody out there.
No huddle for the Chargers offense. Brown inside of the 35, pushing his way for extra yardage. And Donald Brown, we're going to see a lot of him the rest of the way today. He's already got 9 carries for 37 yards.
Excuse me, Andrew. This is exactly the kind of offense they ran last week in beating the Seahawks. You can't get them off the field, and they sprinkle in enough runs to make that defense, play it honest, and that defense can't get off the field.
Second and 5. Guess who? Brown throwing back. Coming up to make that tackle is Aaron Williams, the 4th-year man out of Texas.
You're right, Steve. Tasker as well. The San Diego Chargers are not a great running team. They're only averaging about 77 yards a game so far this year. And they weren't one of the top teams running the ball last year, but they make you defend the run, which opens up everything else.
Where do you go here, Steve Berline? 3rd and 3.
Well, we haven't seen Antonio Gates. You see the bunch up at the top there. Antonio Gates is the big one in the front. I think you got to try and get him involved in the game plan.
Rivers over the middle. It's broken up and a flag comes in. It was Nikel Roby who got a hand on it.
But they're going to call Antonio Gates up the field. He was held over the top of his route trying to get deep. I think that's where the penalty
Prior to the pass, being thrown, holding, defense, number 27. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's on Duke Williams, not Roby, and you're right, it was on the Gates coverage.
There's Gates going up the field.
And that's, you can't hold on. That's letting him go by. That was too far up the field.
That would not have been called. A couple years ago.
Yeah,
there
12
was
months ago. That's not even. You're not even looking at it.
By the rules, that is a penalty, no doubt about it. But it's only being called nowadays.
Brandon Oliver, the rookie out of the University of Buffalo, and he gets a couple. This Tuesday on CBS, it's the season premiere you've been waiting for. TV's #1 drama. NCIS is back in action Tuesday at 8/7 Central only. CBS. The Chargers Hotel here in Buffalo, just down the road from the University of Buffalo, and Oliver actually went to the game yesterday against Norfolk State. His Bulls won 36-7, but how about that working out well? Spending a couple of hours this afternoon at his alma mater. 2nd and 10. Rivers down the sideline, and it's caught by Green. Darius Green makes the grab. 1st and goal, San Diego.
Well, just beautiful play design, and I think with Darius Green is the guy that we will hear about as not only this game goes on, but as the season goes along. Big tight end on the outside, 6'6", very talented receiver. The problem is he's behind the all-world Antonio Gates. Whenever Antonio Gates decides to hang him up, which hopefully will not be for a long time, but Darius Green is going to be a big factor in this offense.
Just his 3rd catch of the season. Brown on 1st and goal. Mario Williams throws him down.
This Bills defense getting down in the red zone. You see, you can just tell by the Bills' body language, they're getting a little bit fed up with being on the football field as Mario Williams makes the big step in and slams Brown to the ground. This offensive line of the Chargers are doing a very nice job protecting Rivers and also giving them enough in the running game to make this Buffalo Bills defense start to look around and say, wow, who are these guys? Playing very well up front are the Chargers.
Brown lined up as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen on 2nd and goal. Rivers out of the gun. 3 on the play clock. Rivers, end zone, incomplete, but another penalty is down. And this one's going to go against Preston Brown, the rookie out of Louisville.
And that's going to be a 1st and goal on the 1-yard line for San Diego.
And this is one of the things that...
Pass interference, defense, number 52. Spot of the foul is in the end zone. Automatic 1st down at the goal line.
But this is one of the things that's so hard for a young defender to understand and realize, because in college the rules are so much more liberal as far as up the field, and you're talking about a rookie linebacker trying to cover Antonio Gates in the red zone, and you can't help but go back to your natural instinct, which is try to get a piece of it.
We spoke to Corey Graham, the Buffalo Bills defensive back. He says you try that stuff early and you see if the officials are going to call it, because if they don't call it early, they won't call it late. But today they're calling everything very light, touchy. Now that was a penalty, but they're calling it early and they'll probably call it late.
Touchdown San Diego, but there is a penalty flag on the play and a false start against the Chargers.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And that's number 2 on DJ Fluker.
Well, when you watched the film last week of the Chargers against the Seahawks, there were a lot of penalties in the red zone like this here. You can see at the top of your screen, you saw Fluker move. But last week, the Chargers were able to overcome those penalties and find a way to cash in for 7 points. A lot more difficult in Buffalo with this crowd noise, with the wind blowing. Much more of a challenge, I think, today.
Fluker matched up with Mario Williams. So the Chargers backed up, 1st and goal. Rivers' pass is caught at the 2-yard line by Green. Heck of a catch by Ladarius Green.
That's one of the problems. You get a 5-yard penalty against the Chargers. If you're the Buffalo Bills defense, it just gives Phillip Rivers more room to throw the football. He goes back into the shotgun, and that's the kind of catch that helps a quarterback out. Was not a great throw by Phillip Rivers, but wow, Ladarius Green pulling that in behind him on the bottom, and they have put together a very nice drive thus far.
And they dominated time of possession last week against the Seahawks, and this drive now at 7.5 minutes. 15th play right here on 2nd and goal. Rivers looking for the fade to the corner, incomplete. Was trying to get it to Green again, but instead it's incomplete. 3rd and goal.
Well, it looks to me like they're going to be trying to pick on the rookie Preston Brown. If Phillip Rivers was a little bit more patient, I think this would have been a completion. That ball should have been thrown maybe a split second later, and Ladarius Green would have been able to find that ball. He was wide open in the back of the end zone, but since he got up so early, he had trouble locating it over the top.
Antonio Gates had 3 touchdowns last week. No catches so far today. 3rd and goal. Rivers in trouble. Chased by Darius, and he throws it away. Great pursuit by Marcell Dareus.
Everybody was covered up in the back end as Phillip Rivers, and you talked about it, Steve. He's really slippery back there. You see in the back of the end zone, Dareus just can't get a handful.
I'll tell you what, though, Phillip Rivers, Mike McCoy is going to tell him to be careful with those big boys chasing you like that. You don't want him taking those big boys falling on his ankles like that.
The skill positions all have their jerseys taped, and so you can't really grab them like you should. You're just, it's like trying to get a piece of a bowling ball. You just can't grab it.
Nick Novak from 20, and that's his 22nd straight field goal made. The Chargers put 3 on the board. It's 10-0. The Chargers and Bills join the NFL in celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. From players to coaches to owners to fans, many Latinos have left a lasting legacy on the league. You can hear their stories by visiting NFL.com/Hispanic Heritage. Officially a 19-yard field goal for Nick Novak, and San Diego's jumped out to a 10-0 lead. C.J. Spiller is back deep. Now keep in mind, Novak kicking into the wind here, and he's going to need an assist.
That wind is howling that way right now. They're not going to even mess with it.
Keeps it low. And out to the 35-yard line. Buffalo with good field position when we come back. Windy in Orchard Park, gusts up to 30 miles per hour, and now the Bills with the wind trailing 10-0. Craig Urbick is in at left guard. Chris Williams has suffered a back injury. His return is questionable. Spiller on first down out of the backfield. Spiller gets away. C.J. Spiller putting the moves on up to the 45-yard line. Couple yards short of a first down.
Well, this is what Buffalo likes to do with C.J. Spiller. Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller, two different types of backs. They like to get C.J. Spiller on the edge, quick passes, tosses like that. And what happens with his speed, defenders kind of over-pursue and will run past like Tarek Williams did for the San Diego Chargers right there. Spiller cut it behind him for a nice gain.
Guys still know Sammy Watkins yet to make a catch in the first half. Spiller running left, gets through the line and breaks through. C.J. Spiller down the sideline and forced out by Weddle at the 27-yard line. A 29-yard pickup, but there is a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
This is going to come back as Spiller bounced it to the outside.
Holding offense, number 84, 10-yard penalty will replay. Second down.
Scott Chandler, the tight end. And right there it is. And he's got his arm across.
And that did allow Spiller to get up inside there. I was so impressed by Spiller's patience there because it looked like San Diego had that play stuffed, and he cut it through there late, got a nice gain out of it, but Chandler guilty as charged.
Chandler, a 4th-round pick in the 2010 draft by the San Diego Chargers. Manuel over the middle to Watkins. It's low and incomplete. Jason Verrett on the coverage.
I got to think that pass got moved around a little bit in the air. It was a long throw down the middle of the football field, and Watkins comes out. That ball comes in really low.
I just think the ball got away from him. He's with the wind now, Steve. You know, and it is a little bit different throwing with the wind as well, but I just think he anticipated a little bit too early, and the ball came out a little bit low for Sammy Watkins, but that ball has got to be completed. That's the first chance they had at a real big chunk of yardage. You got to make those plays when they present themselves. Now you got 3rd and 12 now.
Chandler actually a 2007 draft pick by the Chargers. 3rd and long. Manuel flushed out. E.J. Manuel is not going to get the first down, and that brings up 4th down again. And here comes the punt team.
And here's Sammy Watkins on the outside. Comes out, and right there the ball has either got to be there or Manuel's got to come off and make a different decision here. He's running around. He can't, having trouble seeing the football field. The pursuit takes his eyes off the downfield, and right then, as soon as he stepped sideways and took his eyes off downfield, that play was blown up.
Chargers defense held Russell Wilson last week to just 18 yards rushing. They've done a good job so far today containing E.J. Manuel as Schmidt boots it away to Royal. Fair catch called for. He lets it bounce and takes a Buffalo hop. Close to the 10 and down at the 11-yard line. 8:27 to go in the first half after a 49-yard punt by Colton Schmidt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the United States Marine Corps. The few, the proud, the Marines. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Steve Tasker, a member of the Buffalo Wall of Fame. Funny, we were in Oakland last week and Berline's name wasn't up on the wall, but Tasker.
Yeah, you know, it's on the bathroom wall from the most hated Raider history.
We're walking around with Steve Tasker like royalty here in Buffalo. First down, Brown
carried away.
I think one of the things I'm most impressed with this San Diego Chargers offense is their offensive line. Look at them in the run game. We talked about controlling the interior of the Buffalo Bills. Well, they're doing it. Look at, they're giving Phillip Rivers time to make his decision to get rid of the ball. Right here, just stymieing Kyle Williams and Marcel Darius at the line of scrimmage. That is hard to do, folks, and they're doing it very, very well today.
And Joe D'Alessandris, the Chargers offensive line coach, was the Bills offensive line coach in 2010 to 2012. The flag is down as Brown goes out. We might have a face mask here. And Stephon Gilmore is on the ground. Gilmore being attended to. Third-year player out of South Carolina.
Bills defensive backs have struggled in run support today. They've let the bounce.
Personal foul, face mask, number 24. 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Gilmore struggled in the beginning of last year's rookie season to get going, and now down once again.
Up next, the NFL on CBS just keeps on coming. A Super Bowl rematch between the Broncos and the Seahawks. Should be a good one out west. Some of you will also see the Chiefs challenge the Dolphins. Just check their local listings, but it was a blowout, as we know, in the Super Bowl. 43-8 the final. Round two, with a little less at stake, coming up later today on CBS. Gilmore, okay, walked off under his own power. 1st and 10 for the Chargers. 7:37 to go, second quarter. Donald Brown trying to get around the outside and tripped up just past the 35-yard line.
Early on, when the Chargers do decide to run it, they've had great success going at the edge of the defense. Their running back, Donald Brown, most of the time since Woodhead has been out, has had a lot of success getting to the edge of that defense. A lot of people realize, and like we did, it said in the open, the strength of the Bills' defense is in that interior defensive line, so the Chargers are just running around it.
Brown again up the gut, trying to push the pile forward, and they'll bring up third down.
As you can see there in the hard 2.5-yard gain, you're just not going to make much hay going right up the gut.
But I'll tell you, Steve, you know this, as we look at the Buffalo Bills defense, very good about not giving up big plays. Normally, they've given up quite a few today, but NFL offenses believe that a 2 to 3 yard gain sometimes are great runs because it keeps you in this 3rd and 5 or less, which is exactly what San Diego's facing right now.
Rivers to Donald Brown, and he is tackled right near the stick, but that's going to be short of a first down.
Yeah, that'll bring up a 4th and about 2, and immediately the Chargers punt team runs on. And that's the first stop the Bills defense can really point to and say they got it done.
And this will be interesting to see how the San Diego punt unit handles the into the wind on this one here.
Mike Cyphers in his 164th consecutive game. McKelvin back deep for the Bills at his own 10. As Steve Berline said, into the wind, and this one's coming up short. McKelvin lets it bounce. Flag is down. McKelvin now picks it up, and he's tackled at the 10-yard line. Let's see what the flag is. It was on the near side of the field.
Yeah, that's a mental mistake. McKelvin was way back to the 10-yard line. He should have been up way past the 20 to field that punt, and it's hard to do because you're just so used to doing that.
Holding return team, number 33.
And it turns into an enormous,
timeout on the field.
because of the penalty, it turns into an enormous break for San Diego, and after a mental mistake by a punt returner.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by Quicken Loans, for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
Buffalo still trying to get on the scoreboard, and no Sammy Watkins in this first half. Has only been thrown to once, no catches for the rookie, who last week had 8 grabs for 117 yards and a touchdown. On first down, it's C.J. Spiller trying to move the pile forward with 5:45 to go in the second quarter. You can follow all of today's football action. Just download the CBS Sports app right now. Lightning fast scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. Penalties, big story here for the Bills in the first half. 6 penalties for 50 yards. Another one there on that punt return pushed him back.
And it's the type of penalties and the timing of the penalties that have been absolutely brutal from Buffalo from their perspective.
Manuel was looking for Watkins, incomplete. We go back to New York, an NFL update with JB and Tony Gonzalez.
I think Steve Tasker would agree. Gronkowski is a hard tackle.
Yeah, he's a hard tackle, and we've seen this combination before. Gronkowski catches the 6-yard pass from Tom Brady, and let's see the Gronk spike. Here it comes. Boom! New England up 7-3.
Catalan, Tasker, and Burline.
All right, guys, and a whole bunch of tight ends with Gronkowski making that catch. Of course, Tony, 111, and Antonio Gates with 90 touchdown catches. One more to Isaac Bruce for 10th all-time in NFL history. Out of the backfield, it's Fred Jackson with some room to run, and Jackson out of bounds. What a big pickup for Fred Jackson. Donald Butler forced him out after a 21-yard gain.
This is a great adjustment by E.J. Manuel right here. You're going to see pressure coming off of this side, and watch how quickly he reacts and finds his hot receiver, the safety valve. He had 2 guys coming clean in his face. To be a productive quarterback in this league, you've got to be able to identify exactly where your safety valve is, your hot route, and give him an accurate ball. That's a big play for Buffalo coming out of their own end.
Biggest play of the day so far for the Bills, 21 yards to Jackson. First and 10, Buffalo. Play action. Manuel's looking deep, pressure coming. Manuel in trouble, stays on his feet, dumps it off to Chandler. Chandler with a first down and more. Chandler all the way up to the 30-yard line. A 37-yard gain. And how about E.J. Manuel staying on his feet?
Well, it looked like this play was going to be disastrous for Buffalo, and it turns out to be the biggest play of the first half as E.J. Manuel stays out of trouble, keeps his balance and his composure, and Chandler just makes himself available right there, back over the middle, and by that time, nobody's covering Chandler. He was in pass protection and just turned around and faced Manuel. What a great athletic play by Manuel.
From the 30. Fred Jackson looking to throw it. Sammy Watkins incomplete. That is a play they worked on in practice on Friday. Jackson told us he was going to throw it if he had the chance, but it falls incomplete.
And I think that was the perfect time to call this play too, but you have got to give credit to San Diego for playing that thing perfectly. Marcus Gilchrist right there did not bite. We saw that play in practice on Friday. This is exactly the situation that we were expecting to see it. And after a big play, you'd think San Diego would be aggressive defensively to try and change the momentum. They played it very, very well.
Jackson now 1 for 2 in his passing career. The other one was a touchdown to Lee Evans. Keeping it on the ground here up to the 25-yard line. It's Fred Jackson. We had a great chat with Jackson yesterday. And product of Coe College. And he is so proud to come from a D3 school. In fact, he wears a chain that says D3 Boys. He started a website, d3nation.com. He's been trying to foster pride among D3 athletes, and Jackson is so proud to carry that torch.
He is as impressive a person in person as you're ever going to meet. This is a guy that just has it all figured out.
3rd down and 6. Manuel down the sideline, and it is nearly intercepted by Flowers. Looking for Sammy Watkins, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Well, that's how much faith E.J. Manuel has in Sammy Watkins. Watkins was covered and did a nice job making sure that ball was not intercepted. That's a pretty heads-up play for a young receiver. As you see there, Brandon Flowers down. Watkin comes off Flowers, stays with him, and just like earlier in the game, Flowers stays on top of him. Watkins keeps him from making the interception. That would have been a game changer had Flowers come down with it.
Brandon Flowers is able to walk off under his own power to the San Diego bench, where he's now being attended to. We have 3 minutes to go in the first half, and Dan Carpenter is out for a 45-yard field goal attempt. It's been a good start this season for Carpenter. He's 8 out of 9 and tied a career high with 5 field goals last week in the win over Miami. Also had the game-winning 27-yarder Week 1 overtime against the Bears.
Now, he is with the wind in this stadium, but it does swirl, and we'll get a chance to see if it does affect this football as it flies through.
The punter, Colton Schmidt, will hold for Carpenter. Kick is away, and Carpenter knocks it through, and Buffalo is on the board. With 2:56 to go first half, the Bills trail by 7. The Bills are on the scoreboard, and they are celebrating here in Orchard Park. San Diego now up 10-3 as you take a look at the leaders so far, and Philip Rivers off to a very nice start, 122 yards. Donald Brown already 15 carries, and you're going to see a lot more of him if you're just joining us. Danny Woodhead suffered an ankle injury early in the first quarter. He will not return. Here's Jordan Gay, who's tied for the NFL lead with 10 touchbacks this season. The only player in the NFL to have at least one kickoff and no field goals or punts. Essentially the only kickoff specialist in the league. Touchback again for Jordan Gay. Week 3 continues later today on CBS, and for some of you on Fox, and then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. 2:56 to go. All 3 timeouts remain for both teams. So Donald Brown already with 15 carries. His career high is 18 carries.
We see Stephon Gilmore still on the sideline, got hurt on the last series. But fortunately, they've got Corey Graham as their third corner, who Doug Marrone says is truly a starter in his opinion anyway.
Graham and McKelvin are the corners here on first down. Rivers looking deep for Malcolm Floyd. Has a step, makes the catch, and Floyd is tackled by McKelvin at the 31-yard line. Bills had only given up 1 play of more than 20 yards the whole season. They've given up 4 now today.
Well, perfect execution and call again. The timing was absolutely spectacular. You got the cover 4 is what they call it, where there's 4 across. Safeties are responsible for stepping up with a vertical push on them. That allows a post to get over the top a lot of times. Great throw and catch from Philip Rivers and Malcolm Floyd.
A 49-yard catch for Floyd, his second 49-yard catch today. Now Brown. And he's wrestled down to the 25-yard line with 2:05. That could take us to the 2-minute warning. A little pushing and shoving here now.
And that was, you're right, that play call to start that drive went right after Leotis McKelvin, the first guy in off the bench after Gilmore took a seat with the injury.
2-minute warning in Buffalo.
Watch the Norris Searcy right here. The vertical push by the receiver on the inside is going to allow the post to get over the top. That's Malcolm Floyd. You see, that was expected coverage out of Mike McCoy and Frank Reich, and they were right.
On second down and 5, first catch of the day for Antonio Gates, and he gets a San Diego first down. Ron Brooks makes the tackle. Gates, of course, with 3 touchdowns a week ago.
That's a typical tight end route. He's going to come across, and the thing that's made Gates so good over the course of his career, not only his ability to catch it in traffic, but to make 1 or 2 guys miss and get a little bit of extra stuff after the catch. Obviously, too, Philip Rivers throws it to guys. Gates was wide open there, but as you get down in the red zone, Philip Rivers will throw to guys who are covered, but unless he throws it, they're not covered. Philip Rivers can put the ball in there.
Rivers screen to Brown. Has it at the 20. Now the 15. Brown upended by McKelvin. And the clock continues to tick with 1:05 to go.
I like the play call there, but boy, that was a great open field tackle right there. Donald Brown, I think, if you would have said, hey, he's got one man to beat out there, it was nice tackle, good, solid tackle by Leotis McKelvin.
If you're the Bills, would you be calling timeouts here?
You know what? You got a good point there.
2nd and 6. Clock continues to tick now. 40 seconds to go. Rivers trying to get away. He's not. Thrown down by Manny Lawson, his former teammate at NC State. And now San Diego has called its first timeout.
There you see it. Rivers trying to find an open receiver and just doesn't do it. Has to tuck it because the pocket collapses and then steps right into the hands of Lawson. Rivers, you can see as he gets up, he's not happy about that, how that turned out. No telling whether he wishes he'd have thrown that early or he didn't like the play call.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
I think if you would ask Phillip Rivers right now, Steve, I think he'd be mad at himself. From a quarterback's perspective, you know you can't take a sack in that situation, and he had time to get rid of that ball.
First sack this year for Lawson, just the second sack allowed by the Chargers this season. 3rd and 11. Rivers in trouble again, gets it away to Brown. And Brown is wrapped up at the 19-yard line. Ron Brooks making the stop, and that will set up a field goal attempt.
And they'll let the
Buffalo take a timeout. I think
Buffalo did take their timeout.
Yes.
So they stopped the clock with 25 seconds to go, each team with 2 timeouts remaining. I'm still a little surprised that Buffalo didn't call timeouts earlier on that drive. Keep in mind, San Diego gets the ball to start the second half.
I think you're 100% right. I think if we go back to the virtue of hindsight here, I think Doug Marrone probably should have started using his timeouts a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and the question was, I think they thought they were going to get the ball with a little more time left. They thought that for sure they would get the ball back, and they wanted their timeouts in their pocket. But in retrospect, with 25 seconds and a kick for the Chargers, I think, yeah, you'd have been better off using the timeouts and get more time.
37-yard attempt for Novak. And he's now made 23 in a row, dating back to last season. His last miss was November 11th last year against Denver. 13-3 now.
One thing is important to remember now, we've seen the kicks fall very short going to this end of the field, so Marrone knows they're going to get pretty good field position after this kick, and you can bet the Chargers will probably squib this once again, and the Bills will have a plan for it. What that plan is probably is just to try and get into field goal range.
Yeah.
With the timeouts left, they'll have a chance to do that. But this kick is going to be really interesting to see how the Chargers do it. It's not going to get deep. This is not going to be the usual touchback as we see so much around the NFL.
I think the first priority for Buffalo is going to get within range of a Hail Mary so they can at least get a shot at getting the ball in the end zone. Their goal is to get it in the field goal range.
Right.
And this is something else the Bills worked on in practice. They have 3 returners back deep right now. Spiller, the deep man, but Goodwin and McKelvin are waiting at the 20. So if the kick comes up short, they're going to have a returner there that's ready to go. Unlike last time when it was Boobie Dixon.
And those are speed guys back there, like you said. And the purpose behind that also is for exactly this situation. Into the wind, Nick Novak, not a big touchback type of kicker. He doesn't have a real strong leg as far as kickoff is concerned. So they believe it's going to be a short kick. They'll have a chance to return it with some speed.
Novak keeps it low. It gets all the way back to Spiller at the 5. Took one back for a touchdown last week against the Dolphins, and this time he's wrapped up at the 22-yard line with just 14 seconds remaining. And the story of this first half, the Chargers, they've been able to stretch the field against this Bills defense.
Well, if you make a mistake against Phillip Rivers, he is so savvy, so experienced. He's seen it all. If you leave a guy open, he's going to make the play. He's so accurate, up around 70% the last year plus under Mike McCoy. When he has a chance to make a play up the field, he seldom does not take advantage of it.
Bills had only allowed 1 play of 20 or more yards this season. It was Alshon Jeffrey in week 1, a 44-yard catch. They've given up 4 of them today defensively. All right, 14 seconds to go. 1st and 10 for E.J. Manuel. 2 timeouts remaining for the Bills. Manuel, dangerous pass. It's caught by Fred Jackson, and Eric Weddle was right there.
That was Dwight Freeney on the hit. And
Philip Rivers has seen enough, and that's it. Buffalo goes into the locker room with 2 timeouts in their pocket, and they trail 13-3 against the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, now in retrospect, there's no question those timeouts were ill-used in that last San Diego drive, and that's something that not only has the offense and defense been outplayed, the coaching staff left a couple things on the table there for the Buffalo Bills.
Philip Rivers, 12 out of 15 for 183 yards and 1 touchdown in that first half. And Donald Brown, 16 carries for 55 yards. That's the end of the first half with the score San Diego 13, Buffalo 3. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the second half in Buffalo, and San Diego has a 13-3 lead on the Bills. Time now to take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. Philip Rivers, plenty of time, led by his offensive line, the center Rich Ornberger. Malcolm Floyd reels in a 49-yard grab, his second 49-yard catch of the first half. Back in the booth with the Steves, Berline and Tasker. I'm Andrew Catalon. Danny Wood had the big story in that first half, went out early with an ankle injury, did not return, but under Rivers, the Chargers offense didn't skip a beat.
Now, Philip Rivers is not going to allow that to happen. He is too much of a leader, too much of a gamer to just fold up tent when you lose one of your number 1 weapons. So Malcolm Floyd has stepped up big time. 2 catches, 98 yards. Donald Brown has filled in very nicely, running for 55 yards in the first half on 15 carries. So I think this offense, they need to just keep doing what they're doing. Both sides of the ball actually do the same things you've been doing, and to see if the Buffalo Bills can make the proper adjustments.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. The San Diego Chargers are outplaying the Buffalo Bills in every phase of the game. Neither team has turned the football over, and that's why it's still just a 7-point game or a 10-point game at this point. But the Buffalo Bills have they do need to make some adjustments. They need to do some things to Philip Rivers and get him off his spot. E.J. Manuel has got to start completing passes down the field and to someone other than his tight end and running backs. His wide receivers need to get into the game.
Yeah, specifically Sammy Watkins, I would think. You know, he's the one that's got the big playability.
And the Chargers will start at the 20 here to begin the second half. Philip Rivers comes back out, 12 of 15, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown in the first half for Rivers.
And it was a sharp 12 of 15. I don't think there was one poor decision he made in that first half, other than maybe taking that 1 sack at the end of the first half. But
right. And it wasn't just all dump-offs either. He went down the field on a number of occasions for big plays, and that's a great first half of football by a good quarterback.
And we got to give your buddy Frank Reich some credit too. He has had the right plays dialed up at the right time as the offensive coordinator.
Donald Brown with his 17th carry of the game. Career high is 18. Brown came over from the Colts, signed a 3-year, $10.5 million deal in March. Great ball security throughout his career. Only 2 career fumbles now in his 6th year, and the offense recovered both of those fumbles.
Yeah, I know a lot of people get tired of hearing say it, but we say it because the coaches and players say it. If you don't turn the football over, you're always harder to beat. And a guy who doesn't fumble is an asset no matter how many times he carries the ball.
By the way, so much for the rain in Buffalo today. Sunny skies overhead, although it is still windy. Rivers. Wobbly pass is caught by Keenan Allen right in front of Stephon Gilmore, who is back into the game for Buffalo, but that's a San Diego first down.
It's not always pretty with Philip Rivers, but usually he's going to go to the right guy. If he's given enough time like he is right there, he couldn't really step into it, but he had enough room to get that ball out of there and on target to Keenan Allen. I would expect this Buffalo Bills defense, though, to come out this second half and play a bit more upset and a bit more nasty than they've been to this point.
And I would be surprised if they don't start bringing some more pressure on Rivers. If he has time to sit back there, he's going to take all the time he has to find the right guy.
Brown matches his career high with his 18th carry, gets to the 33-yard line for San Diego.
That's a great point, though, Steve Tasker. I mean, if I'm the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, Jim Schwartz, we have not had much success at this point in rattling Phillip Rivers. You got to try something different to throw him off his beat. And maybe it is bringing extra pressure, but you got to try something because what you're doing right now is not working.
Bills defense trying to fire up the crowd. 2nd down and 9. Gates in motion. Donald Brown stacked up, and that front 4 got a good push that time for the Buffalo defense. Marcel Darius leading the charge.
And this is where the Buffalo Bills feel like they should be more often than not, as in 3rd and 8 or 9 plus. And the Chargers have made hay here in the last couple of weeks by being in 3rd and 5 or less. So this is where the Bills want to get in this first series. We'll see if Phillip Rivers can make them pay or get his team out of this little hole.
San Diego 2 for 5 on 3rd downs in that first half. On 3rd and 8, Rivers steps up, is going to keep it himself, slides forward, and he's got the first down. Heads up play by Phillip Rivers.
No. What can you say about this guy? He had 11 carries last week and had some big 3rd down pickups just like this. You got receivers. He didn't like what he saw at the field, and he's not a runner. But, boy, if you didn't know that the last couple weeks, you think he might be.
It's tough to beat a quarterback who always seems to do the right thing. And that's what Phillip Rivers does. He makes the right throw, makes the right decision, uses his legs when he can. Unbelievable.
Donald Brown is tripped up as Gilmore closed quickly. Those 11 carries you mentioned for Rivers last week, a career high in that impressive win over the Seahawks.
To elaborate on what we're talking about, though, Steve, you know, if you're a defensive coordinator, you got the Chargers backed up 3rd and 9, you want Phillip Rivers to be the one to try and beat you with your feet.
That's right.
Because you don't think he can do it.
That's right.
I mean, you take away everything else, say, let's see if Phillip Rivers can beat us with his feet. Well, guess what? He just did.
Once again, San Diego winning the time of possession battle. They dominated Seattle last week, 42 minutes to 17 minutes. 2nd down and 10. Once again, good coverage by the Bills, and Rivers just has to throw it away.
And nobody was open. Now that you can see one official running towards the white hat with his hands up. There's nobody over there. Rivers was...
They're going to call him out of the pocket, which is...
Yeah, he was outside the tackle box, which saves it, and he's allowed to do that.
Jarius Wynn, the former Charger, applied the pressure for Buffalo.
So the tackle box is just, he's definitely, I mean, I can see why the fans are upset because you don't have the benefit of the angle that we do, but I would say he was a good step outside of the tackle box.
Third and 10. It's Green. And Ladarius Green has another San Diego first down. 2 back-breaking conversions for San Diego against this Buffalo defense.
Phillip Rivers finds the right guy every time he has the ball in his hands. Ladarius Green is the only guy. He's wide open, and you see Phillip Rivers just says, listen, they're giving it to us. No question that Green's got to make a play. Once he catches, he's got a long way to go, but he does it. It was the right play by Rivers, and they get the first down.
9th play of this drive to start the 2nd half. And this is the rookie Oliver up the middle across the 40-yard line.
While we're on the topic, though, we keep talking about Phillip Rivers here for a second, but you see the long drives that they had in the first half. I mean, these are offensive coordinators' absolute dream scenario right here. But Mike McCoy, Frank Reich doing a great job. But Phillip Rivers, though, you don't understand. I've played the position for a little bit of time in my life. It's very hard on 3rd and long to have the discipline to take that check down and trust your players to make that play. And he does it time and time again.
If 17 years is a little time in your life, you must be pretty old there, Steve.
It's not very old.
Oliver again, the rookie out of Buffalo, across the 35-yard line. And again, San Diego just pounds the clock. 9:35 to go, 3rd quarter.
And you know that Donald Brown was in there for a while. Danny Woodhead out of the game. Brandon Oliver has to be called upon. I talked to him just before the game. He had to get 25 tickets for the game because, as we said, this is a kid that went to school here in Buffalo. This is a big day for him, and he's been called into service, particularly now with the absence of Danny Woodhead. Oliver staying in the game at that tailback spot.
And remember, he's undrafted. out of Buffalo, University of Buffalo. Mike McCoy told us that he was going to get to play today. We didn't expect to see him so much.
11th play of the drive, play action. Rivers winds up, fires, wide open is Green at the 15, inside the 10. Ladarius Green, and it's 1st and goal, San Diego. Corey Graham finally made the tackle.
Do you think that Frank Reich and Mike McCoy have a pretty good pulse on what Buffalo's doing defensively right now? And now what Buffalo is generally good enough to do, because Jim Schwartz is not known as a very complex defensive coordinator. He's got really good personnel. They usually execute what they do better than their opponent. Well, today they run into a pretty high level of execution offense right now. This offense is a machine right now.
Green only had 2 catches in the first 2 games. He's got 4 grabs today. 1st and goal, San Diego. Brown up the middle to the 5-yard line.
Buffalo only had 10 guys defensively on the field right there. You can count them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hard to play good defense when you don't have all your guys on the field.
They got away with it.
They did get away with it.
Thanks to Kyle Williams, who made that last tackle. 13th play of the drive. This drive's taken more than 7 minutes. It's 2nd and goal. Rivers has time. Running right. Crowd wants a hold. Pass is incomplete. No penalty. It looked like Jarris Wynn got held up, and that's what the crowd was rooting for, but no call.
Well, let's look and see what the fans are so upset about. You're going to see Jarris Wynn, number 92, at the top of your screen, trying to get outside. Right there is what they're talking about. That was DJ Fluker. Definitely had a little grab of his collar.
Yeah. And particularly with the touch fouls, all the penalties the Buffalo Bills got in the first half, the crowd want
justification.
They wanted to even out a little bit at some point.
3rd and goal. Rivers, quick pass over the middle, caught, touchdown, San Diego. 2nd of the day for Eddie Royal.
Man, what a great throw that was. And the smallest receiver on the San Diego Chargers roster, Eddie Royal, is the one who gets the call right here. Just a quick little flick of the wrist, very much like Dan Marino, being able to get rid of that football quickly and accurately. Eddie Royal, great job getting open and catching that football.
Yeah, that's like trying to throw a football through a briar bush to a rabbit inside of it, and he made it. I mean, he did it. I mean, that threw 2 guys to a guy sitting down low on the ground. That's a great throw.
A great identification. They were able to make that decision that quickly. But he's just on top of his game right now.
And guys, Chargers came in over 50% on 3rd downs. They were 3 for 3 on that drive, including the touchdown pass from Rivers to Royal. It's 20-3. Chargers lead at 20-3 with 7:31 to go in the 3rd quarter. Another long drive for San Diego, 14 plays, 80 yards. Bills could use a spark on special teams as C.J. Spiller is back deep. Again, Novak kicking into the wind here at Ralph Wilson Stadium. He keeps it low. Right at McKelvin, and he gets across the 32-yard line. Quick break, but when we come back, the great Jim Kelly will join us in the booth here in Buffalo.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. And by the Lincoln Motor Company and the first ever MKC.
A look at the Bills fan shop, part of the incredible renovations here at Ralph Wilson Stadium. It's buzzing, but the Bills are trying to make a comeback. They trail 20-3, and there is an injured man down on the field for Buffalo. That is Marcus Easley, who now just gets to his feet and needs some help getting off the field. We'll take another look at this one. Easley, a special team stalwart for the Bills, and he got rolled up on there on the left of your screen.
That's always scary, someone rolling up on the legs.
Well, we are so privileged to be joined in the booth now by the great Jim Kelly. Coming up to the booth, of course, Steve Tasker's former teammate. Jim, great seeing you.
Good seeing you.
Wonderful feature today on CBS, the NFL Today, and of course you were declared cancer-free earlier this month. What did the support of the community here in Buffalo mean to you along your fight?
It was just amazing. I mean, Steve knows by living here also that the people rally around you no matter what the situation is. When my son was sick, there he was. That's what they need to do. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get into the game again.
That's all right. We can get into the games.
You can't help it.
But the thing is, Steve and I live in this community. We know what it's like. And just the overpouring of support that I've had, not only when I was saying before about when my son was sick, but now when, you know, I came down with cancer, it's just amazing how many people really come out. And it's just not, you know, a few people here and there. It's the kids that you're helping to, you know, let them realize that, you know, anything is possible. You can beat anything as long as you put your mind to it.
Fred Jackson has some room to run into San Diego territory. See, Tasker has to be on good behavior up here, but you can cheer all you want, Jim.
Yeah, Jim's clapping as we thought it was a good little change of pace for the Buffalo Bills. You fake a quick pass to the left, and then you got your speed coming around the outside to the right. The Buffalo Bills need some life, and Jim, let's play off of that. Talk about how hungry this community is for a successful Buffalo Bills team like back in your days.
Well, it's amazing because last week our home opener is just wild. I mean, it was the Miami Dolphins, I mean, our big rival. But even this week, the Chargers coming in, we know what type of team they have. But the fans, they just want so badly to have a team that can cheer for week in and week out, because when December rolls around, Steve, you know this, they want to be able to come to the stadium. They don't want to sit at home. They want to come and cheer. We need a game in January for once in the last 10, 12 years. Give us a game at home right here. Let people like the Dolphins and the Chargers come here when it's cold.
Right,
yeah.
Right. That's easy for you to say. Your season, you don't sit in your season tickets down here in the 12th row when it's December. I know that. So.
Oh, I'm not saying anything on that one.
2nd and 2, Jackson. And depending on the spot, that's going to be very close to a first down.
Talk us a little bit too, Jim. I mean, you saw the great atmosphere last week when you were on the field and they retired Ralph's name and they put his name in gold. More so than that, what's it mean now that the community knows this is going to be their team for another generation?
Well, they're ecstatic. As you saw last week, it was really announced that the Buffalo Bills were going to be staying the Buffalo Bills and not the Toronto Bills or the LA Bills or whatever everybody was throwing out there. But this community, and it's a blue-collar town, reminds me of Pittsburgh and Green Bay. These people live and breathe and die Buffalo Bills football.
Up the middle on first down. Now in the feature today with Boomer Esiason on the NFL Today, you said you have a lot to live for. You want to see your daughters walk down the aisle, and also the importance of growing Hunter's Hope and the great foundation that you set up.
Well, yeah, Boomer did a great job. I haven't seen it yet. I shouldn't say that because I haven't seen it yet.
He did a good job. We
saw it, yeah.
I had so many people already text me and say what a great piece it was, and it's exciting to know that there's so many people that really realize what we do. So all the viewers out there, listeners, log on to huntershope.org, find out what we're doing, because it just doesn't affect what we're doing here in Buffalo. It's all over the country.
Manuel fires. It's caught by Woods. Flags are down, but Woods is all the way up to the 11-yard line.
Anytime you see the flag go, especially the way this day is going, you're assuming it's going on the Buffalo Bills. There's 2 flags on the field.
One is against the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be hands to the face.
It just seems like whenever anything good happens for the Bills, there's a yellow flag on the field all day.
There's 2 fouls in the play. They'll offset. Illegal contact, defense number 38. Illegal use of hands to the face, 28 offense. Offset, replay, 2nd down.
Jim, I was just going to say, you and I have been in this building for going on 30 years. I mean, what does this place evoke? Because you're here at home games, you played here, and this is kind of a second home for you. You probably know this place better than anyone.
Well, Steve, but just being around here, I know you're not here every week because you're doing broadcasting, but I get to see and listen to hear all the fans, just the overwhelming support they have here. I mean, it has to get into mid-December before you won't see a sold-out crowd here. We haven't had a winning record in, 12, 14 years, something like that, or playoffs.
Time.
But I just can't wait till we turn things around. We can't turn them around when you're losing 20-3. I know it's just one game, but the players on the sideline got to get used to that winning tradition, get that feeling in their heart that they can come back at any time and not have the fans feeling, okay, we're up, or is the opposing team going to come back? We can start thinking positive.
You know, you need to care more is what I think the problem
Yeah,
is.
pretty much.
You're not passionate enough.
Oh, and I have my wife at home. And my kids are about as passionate about the Bills as you can get.
Big play here for Buffalo, 3rd and 14 after the Dwight Freeney sack. Manuel has time, throws right, and it's caught right at the stick. That is Woods again, and we'll have to see where they chart his forward progress. It's good for a first down. Big conversion there for the Bills.
And that, as a quarterback, Jim, you and I understand how significant a play like that is for a young quarterback. 3rd and 14, when your team in this place needs a lift, to make that throw at that point. Talk about E.J. Manuel, what you saw there, what you feel about him in general.
That wasn't bad. The only thing that I would have to say about E.J., he's got to step into the ball and throw it more. Throw it without, the little arc on it. He's got to zip it in there, and that's the only thing I'd have to say that he needs to work on. But the key right there was he had time to throw the football because he needed to wait until that play developed in order for him to come back to the football, as you well know, Steve.
Well, how about the form of this guy as we flash back? Jim Kelly, look at Tasker's a black and white, that photo.
And the thing is, we haven't changed, Steve. We both look the same.
Yeah,
that's their one hookup that they had over the course of their career together, right? Is that the one catch you had, Steve?
Here's the one right here. Yeah, that's...
Well, the only thing I can say...
My career highlights are 30 seconds long, and there's repeats.
Yeah, whatever. I've always wanted Steve as my wide receiver because we used to have bets in training camp that nobody could cover him, and nobody could. But Bruce DeHaven, our special teams coach, says, do not do that to me. You're messing with my livelihood. Because Tasker was so important during special teams that they would not allow him to be a receiver. He would have been a Steve Largent all over again. He might be in the Hall of Fame quicker than he's going to get in now. If he was wide receiver.
You better calm down or they're going to start drug testing you again. You're talking crazy. But it was a special group, a special era, one that the club has been trying to recreate for a long, long time. And you being here in town, living here in the community has been an inspiration to a lot of people, not only with the way you played football, but your family and what you've meant to the community, all that you've done for the people who had nothing to do with our football team, but were just fans of it. And it's a testament to you, the support you get here and the support you had during your battle with cancer and when we lost Hunter. All of those things all rolled into one make this venue, this city, this region, and this franchise a unique piece of heritage here in this region.
Yeah, it is, Steve. And you don't give yourself enough kudos. I mean, you're here, you understand what it's about to give back and all the stuff you do too and all the stuff you help me with. Makes it so much better for all of us and makes it so much better for the community knowing that there are Buffalo Bills that don't pack up and leave after their careers. I'm just mentioning me and you. Thurman Thomas lives here. I mean, I can go to Markel, so many guys live here. But the thing is, we give back because we see what it's like to have people and the support that we've had. We want to give back.
One more thing about one of the guys who packed up and left when his career's over. How about our guy, Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator of the San Diego Chargers? He's doing an outstanding job today. Of course, he's working with Phillip Rivers, but
he didn't help you at all, did he, over the years?
Oh, I could go on and on about Frank, the things he's done. And the thing is, when I'm watching San Diego, I'm calling plays that I'm watching football now.
Jackson's in!
Yeah, baby. Steve, I'll yell for both of us.
Don't do it.
Fred Jackson with an 11-yard touchdown, first touchdown of the day, and maybe Jim Kelly's the good luck charm for Buffalo Bills.
I was going to say, I think the San Diego Chargers have heard about enough. The San Diego Chargers fans have probably heard about enough from Jim Kelly. He comes up here in the booth, good things start happening for the Bills.
Yeah, I'd like to stay here for a long time, guys, but unfortunately, I'm out of here. But hey, no, thank you all very much and to all the viewers out there, not just here in Buffalo, New York, but all over the country that sent me well wishes and the prayers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It means so much to me. I cannot do it without the support that I've had from everybody.
Jim, thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you,
certainly
guys.
appreciate it.
God bless you. Thanks, buddy.
Buffalo cuts it to 10. It's 20-10 Chargers. An 11-play drive for the Buffalo Bills, capped off by the 11-yard touchdown from E.J. Manuel to Fred Jackson. Manuel, the second-year quarterback, was 4 out of 5 on that drive, and Orchard Park is alive and well after that last touchdown.
Well, their work is not done as Philip Rivers still gets to come out and take snaps, and the Buffalo Bills still have yet to solve that problem.
Oliver will take a knee. Fred Jackson trying to fire up the crowd. The Bills within 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile and by Voya Financial, changing the way you think of retirement.
Ralph Wilson Stadium is rocking. 1:16 to go, third quarter. Chargers first and 10 from the 20. They lead it 20-10. With Steve Berlon and Steve Tasker, I'm Andrew Catalan. We thank you for joining us week 3 of the NFL on CBS. Flag is down. Rivers throws one up towards Floyd, and it's incomplete, but another flag comes in from the secondary. So there are 2 flags down.
It's going to be offsetting again. Buffalo a little bit. Oh, actually, they're both on
they're
Buffalo.
both on
That's right.
Buffalo. I think the one in the secondary is always the one that's going to be.
They'll take the one up the field, yeah.
This is going to be on Buffalo in the secondary again. Illegal contact.
There's 2 fouls in the play, both on the defense. Offside. Defense, number 97. Penalties declined. Pass interference, number 21. Accepted. Automatic first down. Spotted foul.
That's Leotis McKelvin. The problem there, obviously there's contact, and he did not look back to make a play on the ball. Those are 2 things that need to happen. You can't make that contact up the field. You also have to try to make a play on the football.
That's what happens when you're a defensive back and you're desperate to stop a play that you think is going to be made on you, and he just overruns the play, gets there too soon.
Philip Rivers needs to be careful, though, hanging balls up into this wind like that. That could have been a negative play.
There's a 31-yard penalty. They keep it on the ground here to the 45. They call themselves Scorpion, 4 of the smartest people in the world working together to fight threats against America. Inspired by a true story, Scorpion premieres tomorrow after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS. 7 penalties today for Buffalo for 81 yards. That was a problem in week 1 against Chicago. They had 9 penalties for 108 yards.
And they have been major penalties. That's the key. That's the big difference. San Diego's had 4 penalties called on them today, but they have not been penalties that really have hurt them.
On 2nd and 7, and Brown doesn't get anything, and the Chargers will likely just run out the clock here in the third quarter, and then they'll throw with the wind on this third down coming up when we start the 4th.
And that's been typical of this game. Unfortunately for Buffalo, they stopped the run against San Diego, but that just puts the ball back in the hands of Philip Rivers, and he has been absolutely on fire the entire game.
We'll return to Buffalo after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Hey, it's the best game from the best conference when Arkansas battles Texas A&M on the Home Depot SEC on CBS. The hoopla begins with college football today. Start of the 4th quarter, and San Diego is faced with a 3rd down and 7. Rivers on 3rd downs, 5 out of 6 for 46 yards and a touchdown.
Looks like Buffalo coming with some pressure off the outside.
Rivers gets away from one, but not from Darius. Marcel Darius brings Rivers to the ground, and a big hold by the Buffalo defense.
Well, that's what we were calling for at halftime. Buffalo had to find a way to get Philip Rivers to do something different, either throw it quick or get sacked, and really great coverage in the secondary by Buffalo as Rivers tried to climb in the pocket and got caught in the traffic. Watch as he steps up forward.
It wouldn't have mattered if anybody was open on that play because the pressure was going to get to him. They blitzed, they called it right, and it worked for him.
The punt by Cyphers goes into the end zone, a touchback. It's Buffalo football when we come back. 14:21 to go in the 4th. Bills down by 10. They have averaged in the first 2 games starting at their own 38-yard line, but San Diego's special teams has done a good job today. Meanwhile, Craig Urbach is still in at left guard. Chris Williams will not return. He is out with a back injury. On first down, play action. Manuel gets rid of it quickly to Watkins. Sammy Watkins is forced out by Flowers at the 23-yard line. Another flag is down.
This is on San Diego, and this is one I have to see. I think
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 94, lowering the head, leading with the climb of the helmet. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, on our officiate, we get a video each week from the officials explaining things, and that's the crown of the helmet is why they're calling that. Other than if his head would have been up, this would have been a perfectly legal hit by Corey Liuget, but he put his head down, led with the crown of his helmet, and they are going to protect the quarterback every time in that situation, whether you're in the pocket or out of the pocket.
Fifth penalty on the Chargers. 1st and 10 for Buffalo. That is C.J. Spiller across the 40 to the 43-yard line.
you'll see as Liuget comes in, he's going to also lift Manuel up, and it's never been, for years, it's been illegal to lift and drive the quarterback into the ground using your body. This is on the borderline of that, although I don't think Liuget really slams him in and could do everything we've seen in the past years that you could do. But that's, you're right, the posture of the defender is one of the things the officials looks at, and when your head's down going into the midsection, you're going to get called.
That is Marcus Gilchrist, the fourth-year strong safety, still on the ground for San Diego. Clock is stopped with 13:58 to go. Gilchrist was teammates with C.J. Spiller at Clemson, a second-round pick in 2011. He slowly walks off the field. Some of the numbers from the key players today. Phillip Rivers has looked very good, 16-21 for 239 and the 2 touchdowns. Donald Brown, a career high 23 carries for the Chargers without the injured Danny Woodhead and Ryan Matthews. And Malcolm Floyd has 2 catches, both for 49 yards.
And those passes by these quarterbacks, neither one of them throwing the football on every down. I think that's a sign of a close football game where neither team has turned it over to this point. And when you do that, you always feel like you can rely on the running game to keep you in it and be conservative and look for that big play in the conservative way without much risk.
The key on that last drive for Buffalo, though, their scoring drive, was that E.J. Manuel did step up and start throwing the football, making some plays up the field as well.
Manuel throws right to Woods, goes up, and he can't bring it in. Brandon Flowers on the coverage for San Diego.
Well, this is a great play by Brandon Flowers. We mentioned earlier how important it was to have him back in the lineup, and even if Robert Woods would have come down with this ball now in the NFL, if the receiver does not come down with both feet in bounds, even if he's forced out by the defender, it is not going to be a catch. So I think Brandon Flowers knew that. He said, I'm getting him out of bounds, so whether he catches the ball or not, it's going to be ruled incomplete.
And also, I thought that throw was late coming out of the pocket, and also he put a lot of arc on it. Took a long time. Now he had to throw it over a defender, but you really want to throw that one on and get it there fast.
That's what Jim Kelly was talking about too. You got to put more zip on some of those passes.
Big third down for Buffalo. 3rd down and 5. Manuel nowhere to go, and he's going to eat it. Takes a sack, loses the football. Ball came out at the end.
Well, this is ruled a fumble. That's a devastating mistake by the young quarterback.
No signal yet.
4th down.
And now they're saying 4th down. Wow. E.J. Manuel just conceded that sack, but nearly coughed it up. A loss of 18.
Well, as you can see right there, Reggie Walker is the guy sliding through to get through to first force him out. But that's the difference, and we saw Phillip Rivers on a 3rd and long just flip the ball to the sideline, allow his guy to make a play. E.J. Manuel standing back there not wanting to throw that football, not accepting the short pass, ends up taking the big loss.
That play has got to be a learning experience for E.J. Manuel. That's a mistake you can make one time.
That quiets the crowd here in Buffalo. Royal is going to let this bounce, so now he'll pick it up at the 25-yard line. Running left, running the wrong way. Eddie Royal loses yards to the 22. A 50-yard punt, a loss of 3. E.J. Manuel could not get the Bills down the field on that drive. Thursday, your football week starts right here. It is a bitter rivalry this week as the Giants take on the Redskins. Another big-time matchup in primetime. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and CBS. Back here in Buffalo, 12:26 to go. San Diego with a 10-point lead. 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line.
Philip Rivers told us he has freedom at any point to change the play. He just did right there.
And Donald Brown is tripped up by Mario Williams. Well, the general manager for the San Diego Chargers is a Buffalo native, Tom Telesco. Went to St. Francis High School. He was an intern with the Bills during training camp from 91 to 94, and he's put together this San Diego roster. Went to the playoffs last year and off to a nice start here this season.
Hey, Rocket! Rocket!
Pressure coming off the edge again.
Pressure's picked up. Rivers over the middle. It's short. He was looking for Eddie Royal, but it's incomplete.
Now that is another successful play. That's exactly what the Buffalo Bills want in that situation. If you can't get a hit and a fumble, you want an incomplete pass. Now you got San Diego backed up in 3rd and long again. I like Jim Schwartz and his decision to start pressuring Philip Rivers.
And Aaron Williams stayed down in the secondary for the Buffalo Bills after that incomplete pass. And I agree with you, Steve. One of the things that's happening, too, is you see Philip Rivers trying to yell and scream and change the play. The Bills are trying their best to disguise their coverages and disguise their pressure package. And Rivers is trying to decipher it, and a lot of yelling and screaming going on both sides of the football to try and make that play get off.
Aaron Williams remains down. We'll take a break, come back to Buffalo in a moment.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Kelley Blue Book. Find out what you should pay for your next new car at KBB.com.
Aaron Williams needed help getting to the sideline. 3rd down and 10 for San Diego. 5 for 9 on 3rd downs today. Mario Williams coming, but Rivers gets rid of it to Brown. And he is stopped short of a 1st down. That's the first 3 and out today by the San Diego offense.
Super job by Stephon Gilmore coming up to make that tackle in the open field. That's one the Chargers have burned them on 3rd and long today several times on a similar play to that, but you saw good breakdown fundamentals by Stephon Gilmore on the outside. He knew he had help coming from the inside. He was not going to let Donald Brown get to that sideline.
Cyphers to punt it away for just the 3rd time today. McKelvin is back deep for Buffalo, waiting for it at his 20. Lets it go over his head, and will it go into the end zone? It does. So Buffalo will start at the 20-yard line. Up next, the NFL on CBS just keeps on coming. A Super Bowl rematch between the Broncos and the Seahawks. Should be a great one in Seattle. Some of you may also see the Chiefs challenge the Dolphins. Check your local listings. A 72-yard punt by Cyphers, but a net of 52. With Steve Tasker and Steve Berline, I'm Andrew Catalon. Tasker, a 7-time Pro Bowl selection with the Bills. Steve Berline, 17 seasons in the NFL. Went to the Pro Bowl in 1999. Big drive for the Bills. 10:53 to go. They trail by 10. Screen to Spiller. As the 25. Spiller breaks a couple tackles. Still going. And finally wrapped up at the 44-yard line. Eric Weddle brought him down after a 25-yard gain.
You're exactly right, Andrew. This is a situation right here where you find a way to get the ball to your playmakers. C.J. Spiller being the #1 guy over the past several years for the Buffalo Bills. I think this is a defining moment opportunity, though, for E.J. Manuel, the young quarterback. We're getting in the middle point of the 4th quarter. They're down 2 scores. This is where you have to step up, use your resources, keep your poise, and make this football team will them down the field to score some points.
Manuel fires over the middle, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Robert Woods. But Woods was not looking for that one.
Well, there's no pressure on E.J. Manuel either. Look, you can see back in the pocket, he was not under pressure. If you hang on to that ball for another split second, Woods is going to come out on the other side and be open, and he's going to be able to find that football. There was no pressure on E.J. Manuel.
And even if Woods would have seen that, that was high and behind him over his head. That was not an accurate throw.
Bills going into the wind here in the fourth quarter. On 2nd and 10, Manuel, another high pass caught by Spiller, but a flag is down in the secondary. Sharice Wright was covering Sammy Watkins.
And this is going to be illegal contact down the field.
Prior to the pass, illegal use of hands. Hands to the face, defense. Number 29, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And it is on Sharice Wright.
Yeah, and it was right at the line of scrimmage. Wright did make the contact within the 5 yards with Sammy Watkins, but he gets his hands high, and right there, that's all it took. That hand up on the face mask, and that was called.
1st and 10 from midfield for Buffalo. Inside 10 minutes to go. Another flag down. Manuel looking deep for Watkins, and he overthrows him. Sammy Watkins today has 1 catch for 3 yards, but again, there is a flag down.
It's going to be illegal procedure on the Bills. Either a false start or
Illegal formation offense. Number 14 covered up the tight end, number 84. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, I'll tell you, that's one. That's the young wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, who lined up on the line of scrimmage. He needed to be off to be a legal formation, but he had a step on the defender there, and E.J. Manuel, fortunate that it wasn't his fault that play didn't work. You got to take advantage of those opportunities when your receivers win on the outside.
Backs him up to the 45-yard line. They give it to Fred Jackson up the middle across midfield and to the 47-yard line. Back to New York, JB and Tony Gonzalez.
Super Bowl rematch coming up later on CBS. Broncos at Seahawks. Wes Welker, Peyton Manning's security blanket, back in action with his suspension reduced. Maybe the best balanced offense in the league is Seattle. The man who pulls the trigger there, that will be Russell Wilson. The two coaches going at it, Pete Carroll and John Fox. Back to Andrew Catalano.
All right, JB, and Fred Jackson is a yard short of a first down. He's at the 41, so Jackson almost gets there.
Well, I like the play calling, the last 2 plays here by the Buffalo Bills. You made up half the yardage on the draw play on 1st and 15, and then right there, Manti Te'o came on the blitz up the middle. E.J. Manuel knew exactly where his release receiver was. Made a nice throw and a good game.
On 3rd and 1, Spiller runs into the line, and he's tossed back by Kendall Reyes. A big play by the San Diego defense, and now a decision here for Doug Marrone with 8:40 to go.
I don't think there's any decision to be made. You can't punt this football back to Phillip Rivers and San Diego, and they're going to go no huddle, go fast, and snap this football and try and pick up the play. I think it's the right call.
First 4th down attempt of the season for Buffalo.
And now San Diego will take a smart timeout. That's exactly the time a defense needs to take a timeout.
4th and 3 when we come back. 4th and 3, what do you do here, Steve Berline?
I think you look to your safest target, your big tight end, Scott Chandler, or get the ball in C.J. Spiller's hands.
Manuel feeling the heat, gets rid of it, and it's incomplete. Pressure was coming, and the Chargers get the ball back.
Well, I believe we're going to go back and look at this. I think E.J. Manuel had options. They did come with pressure, but he had time to make a throw. You got to know when you're the quarterback where your release valves are. Sammy Watkins coming underneath right there. When there's pressure, you want to have a quick throw. And Sammy Watkins was coming underneath on that play. Open, I think, if E.J. Manuel could have bought another split second and known where his hot receiver was, he would have had a chance to make that conversion because there were options on that throw.
390!
So the Chargers get the ball back, 1st and 10, 8:23 to go. Use the clock to their advantage as much as possible. Brown on the carry as we go back to that 4th down play again.
Well, it's going to be right here coming across this way. Sammy Watkins is coming the other way, but it's the receiver from the left to right that you're going to see is going to be open coming underneath. That's a throw right there. Look at that. He's open. He's got all this field over here to run to. He knows it. E.J. Manuel has got to do a better job identifying that stuff.
And it was Gilchrist who brought the pressure there for the Chargers on defense.
Here we go, Quiznos Phil! Quiznos Phil!
Rivers has the freedom to change the play at the line, gives it to Brown across the 45, and that'll bring up a third down situation here for San Diego. 7.5 minutes to play.
And you can tell, too, is that with the Chargers with a 10-point lead, Frank Reich going a little bit conservative, a couple of straight runs, but also that was Philip Rivers checking into that run as well. So whatever play was called, Philip Rivers checked out of it and gave him that run play. No doubt, I don't think they believe that Buffalo can come back and score twice. As long as they don't do anything silly, the Chargers feel like they've got this game in hand.
Last 8 plays for San Diego, they've gained only 10 yards, and Philip Rivers has to use a timeout with 6:59 to go. So San Diego only has 1 timeout remaining the rest of the way. Well, tomorrow's the night for the Big Bang Theory season premiere. Don't miss 2 new back-to-back episodes on its new night. That's tomorrow at 8/7 Central, only CBS. Time of possession today, Chargers 28 minutes, Bills 24 minutes. And a big play coming here for the San Diego offense. 3rd down and 7. They are 5 for 10 on 3rd downs today. And here comes the crowd following the timeout.
The pressure, if you're Jim Schwartz in this situation,
no pressure. Rivers has time. Throws deep for Floyd. And Corey Graham gets a hand on it. Great play by the Buffalo native out of Turner Carroll High School, Corey Graham. And that's 2 straight 3-and-outs the Buffalo Bills defense has forced.
Yeah, this ball moved a little bit while it was in the air, got knocked sideways. Graham, both Floyd and Graham coming back to the football as it got pushed inside away from the sidelines. Not exactly, I don't think that's where Philip Rivers threw that. That ball was pushed away from the sideline back toward the middle of the field.
it was, but he also got it up a little bit late. That's the throw that has to get up a little bit quicker from a quarterback's perspective.
With the win, Cyphers again puts one in the end zone. Fred Jackson was back deep for Buffalo as E.J. Manuel comes back out for the Bills.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. More live games than ever before with NFL Mobile. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Critical drive for the Buffalo Bills. 6:44 to go. They trail by 10 here at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Steve Berlon and Steve Tasker. I'm Andrew Catalan. Buffalo 2-0 to start the year. Manuel to Spiller. Late comes in as Spiller is tackled close to the 30-yard line.
And it is going to be a hold against Buffalo. I think it was Mike Williams, the wide receiver.
Holding, offense, number 19, 10-yard penalty, replay, 1st down.
And that's another backbreaker. You know, you come out of a break, you get the ball back, you're in a situation where you have to score points, and you see Mike Williams right there, right there's your screen right there. They're muddied up pretty good there. Yeah, he pretty much tackled Brandon Flowers. And you got to know the situation. You know, the effort is fantastic, but you got to be smart. You got a good positive play. Don't mess it up by taking that extra step on that block.
Following the penalty, it's 1st and 16. 6:25 and counting to go. Goodwin is open and hit immediately by Weddle. Incomplete pass, and Weddle just leveled Marquise Goodwin. And Goodwin is still down on the ground.
You could feel that one up here. E.J. Manuel throwing that right up there. Had to go up high to get it, did Goodwin. and Weddle makes him pay for it.
I put that one again on E.J. Manuel. Well, that's part of the growing process of the quarterback. Eric Weddle right there was playing what we would call a pirate or a robber in that defense, where he is free to roam the middle of the field. He's going with the quarterback's eyes, reading the routes. He saw Goodwin coming across the middle of the field, and E.J. Manuel looking right at him throws him right into the headache or the rib ache on this situation, I think.
Yeah.
But that's also another experience for him. The receivers trusting that you're not going to throw him into that kind of a collision.
You're putting that on E.J. Manuel. I don't want to be funny, but Marquise Goodwin's putting it on him too. I mean, that hurts. And you're right. The throw was behind him. It was late. And Weddle is you talk a lot about, you go around the NFL, Weddle is one of the top safeties in the National Football League. He runs the back end of that defense. You spoke about him in the open today, how much of a difference he makes back there. And a lot of what a safety does is make sure the communication between the front and the secondary is right, where the secondary meshes with the front properly and everybody knows exactly what they're doing. That's only the first step of what makes Weddle a good safety. We just saw the second part of what makes him a good safety.
And it wasn't the hit, because there's a lot of great hitters out there, and that was a perfectly legal hit. It was just the ability to sniff out where E.J. Manuel wanted to go with that football.
Goodwin is up, second-year player out of Texas.
Yeah, see there.
Good sportsmanship there by Eric Weddle.
These guys, there is a lot of respect between players in the National Football League. Contrary to what the popular opinion is, and there is an element of emotion and energy that goes into where you do want to drive that guy into the ground when you get the opportunity, but you don't want to hurt anybody. That is seldom the intent.
Fred Jackson in the backfield next to E.J. Manuel on 2nd and 16. Good protection. Pass is caught by Williams at the 20. It'll bring up 3rd and long. Weddle makes another tackle.
And now the Bills in hurry up with 6 minutes to go, down 10, and it's almost dictated by the time. And you see those short throws over the middle. Sooner or later, the Bills are going to have to try and get a chunk play and mix that in.
3rd down and 10. Manuel in trouble, and he's sacked by Kendall Reyes. First sack of the season for Reyes, who spent a portion of his day yesterday at the Anchor Bar here in Buffalo. He just threw E.J. Manuel to the ground, makes a big play.
Do we have that documented? That was just a nice, very four-man rush, but you can get creative with the four-man rush, and that's what San Diego did right there. You had a little bit of a ET, an end tackle stunt where the end goes first and tackle gets around. Works out very nicely. The lineman can't make the switch.
Royal fields the punt at his own 39-yard line and takes it back close to midfield with 5:06 to go. A big defensive stand there by the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, that was a great rush up front. They had a four-man rush and they mixed it up. The offensive lineman couldn't pass the defenders off as they made their pass rush, and it ended up 2 guys right in on E.J. Manuel, and it happened fast.
Three timeouts remain for Buffalo, just one for San Diego.
390! Hey, I want to go. Timber! McCoy Tiger Timber! 390! We hot!
Donald Brown with his 27th carry of the day. Duke Williams wraps him up.
Yeah, and this is the Buffalo Bills just not believing that Philip Rivers is going to throw the football.
Right.
8 guys in the box, and they're coming off the edge.
And you got to be careful, because Philip Rivers is the kind of guy that will take a chance.
Now, there's some quarterbacks who will run the play. Philip Rivers will change it, and he'll pull that ball back out of Donald Brown's stomach and throw it over the top to somebody.
Rivers and the Chargers will use up the play clock here. 4.5 to go. Buffalo not using its timeouts. They do have 3 remaining. Again, Brown slips a bit, and Mario Williams wrestles him to the ground. That brings up 3rd down.
You know, a lot has been made over the years, guys, of how hard it is for West Coast teams to travel east. But the best team of the Western teams, of the Pacific time zone teams, over the years since 2004 has been the San Diego Chargers. They've won, with this win, they'll be 18-18 since 2004. The next closest is Seattle, who's 11-19. So whatever San Diego does when they make this Eastern trip, they seem to handle it better than everybody else.
3rd down and 12. Royal. Cross midfield, still going, and he is stopped short of a 1st down. It'll be 4th and 2 for San Diego. And Doug Marrone has called timeout for Buffalo, his first of this half. Stopping the clock with 3:36 to go.
You see there, Philip Rivers, 18 of 25 for 256. E.J. Manuel, 17 of 26 for 163 yards in the rushing game. Bills not able to get much going on the ground at all, but Donald Brown, because of the score, getting a few extra carries.
First 2 games, Chargers only had 2 3-and-outs. They've gone 3 and out each of their last 3 possessions here in the second half.
But this is a different ball game, though, Andrew. Remember, they're now protecting the lead, going with the win, knowing that Buffalo's got to be more aggressive going into the win than they would like to be. So I don't think you're seeing the same aggressive San Diego Chargers offense we saw for most of the game.
Cyphers with a good one this time. It does not go into the end zone, out of bounds at the 9-yard line. So Buffalo will have a long way to go with 3:28 to play.
Yeah, and given the success the Chargers defense has, or really the lack of success the Bills offense has had, there's no reason for the Chargers to go out and do anything but have Philip Rivers hand the football off.
Especially when you've got such an advantage. This whole second half, it seems like Buffalo, especially this whole 4th quarter, Buffalo's been backed up in their own end zone. Mike McCoy, no reason to push things at all. Just let that clock chew up, keep Buffalo pinned up back in their own end of the field, see if they can put together a long drive.
Don't forget, Denver, Seattle coming up next on CBS. Some of you will see the Chiefs take on the Dolphins. Daniel just chucks it up and out of bounds. Pressure was coming again. Corey Liuget bringing the heat.
And the Chargers are lobbying for this to be intentional grounding, and it is.
It is. They just threw a flag.
Came out.
That's going to be a safety.
That is a safety in the end zone.
Intentional grounding, offense number 3. Quarterback was in the pocket, threw it to an area not occupied by an eligible receiver. By rule, safety.
The late flag, and it cost the Bills a couple of points.
Well, it's the same kind of stunt that San Diego has been able to do to generate pressure with just 4 pass rushes. You're going to see the stunt, the defensive end outside takes a step up the field, comes back underneath. They're not making the switches up front and able to make the adjustments. So E.J. Manuel is seeing white jerseys in his face, and he's got to get rid of that football.
There's nobody in the vicinity. And that is a defensive stand.
That was, again,
And
Kendall.
he saw it immediately. He ran up the sidelines and was lobbying for it, and the officials, it took them a while to get there, but they made the call.
Right.
And it's the right call.
No
E.J.
doubt.
Manuel was right behind the center, right in the pocket. He did
Avoiding
it
the
to
sack.
avoid a sack, and he was in the end zone when he did it.
So the safety makes it 22-10 in favor of the Chargers with 3:23 to go. Here you see E.J. Manuel's number, 17 of 27, 163 yards and the 1 touchdown. No turnovers in this game. But now the Bills in big trouble, down by 12, and San Diego is set to get the ball back. Buffalo with 2 timeouts left.
Well, Andrew, you said something key there. You know, as a young quarterback, the first lesson you want to learn is protect the football no matter what. But then you've got to learn from the other experiences and try and take advantage from the mistakes that you make. Don't keep making them over and over.
Royal makes that catch at the 40-yard line.
And at this early point of the season, the Buffalo Bills were 2-0 coming into this week because they didn't turn the football over. They ran the football well. They got great field position from their special teams, and their defense was really salty. Today, they needed to do more than that, and they couldn't get it done against Phillip Rivers and the Chargers.
But if you're Doug Marrone, I think you find a way to spin this thing positively. If you would have told him after 3 weeks that they were going to be 2-1, he probably would have taken that deal. No doubt. I bet you he would have said, I'll take it right now. Even though they're coming into a very difficult stretch in their schedule, 2-1 is a great way to start the season for this young ball club.
Flag comes in.
This looks like illegal substitution.
12
got
men.
12 guys on defense.
In formation with the snap imminent. 5-yard penalty. First down.
They've got 12 guys on the field. And now Duke Williams is the guy running. You don't want to be that guy. Duke Williams has to come off the field.
Well, that penalty has now pushed the Bills over 100 yards in penalties today. 11 penalties, 101 yards for the Bills. And as Steve Berline has said throughout, some of these penalties have just been killer for Buffalo. Donald Brown is thrown down by Kyle Williams. And Buffalo calls timeout. They have one remaining.
Well, I think the key for the Chargers, we talked about it earlier in the game, we go back to it, the key was that they've been able to control the interior defensive linemen, the pressure from that strength of that Buffalo Bills defense, and I think that is what has allowed Phillip Rivers time to make the plays up the field when the opportunities have been there. And you look at Mike McCoy and this Chargers team now, this is a team that believes they really should be 3-0 now. They feel like they really should have won Week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. They gave up a big lead, and they end up
losing by a point.
Look at their schedule coming up. A bunch of games on CBS. In fact, all of them are on CBS. But next week, Jacksonville, then home for the Jets, at Oakland, and then home for Kansas City before they take on Denver. You could be looking conceivably at a 6-1 Chargers team going into Denver in late October.
And they know how to play the Denver Broncos, by the way. They beat them once last year, and they should have beat them twice. Mike McCoy knows Peyton Manning as well as anybody out there, so they like the matchup against the Denver Broncos.
Keep in mind, Phillip Rivers, as Buffalo has called its final timeout, he told us that his team had a bit of an edge this week because if you look over the past 7 years, San Diego is a second-half team. First half of the year, a 28-30 record, and the second half of the season, a 38-18 record. And Phillip Rivers told us yesterday that this team needed to win back-to-back games early in the season, follow up that Seattle win with another win here today. And they're very conscious of that second-half team mantra, and they're trying to step it up here early on.
Well, you talk about teams and how they're built. This is a team built to beat the Denver Broncos. That's the team that you got to beat if you're in the AFC West. And Phillip Rivers with Mike McCoy, who you said, alluded to, he knows Peyton Manning very well. So does Frank Reich, who coached Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. This is a group that has a lot of experience on how he prepares for a team. And so this is a team that in San Diego that's got to feel really good going forward.
And Frank Reich had a great line. You have to be the toughest, the longest to win in the National Football League in San Diego with a very gutsy performance on the road today.
That's right. Phillip Rivers told us that's his favorite line from Frank Reich. It's not a matter of who's toughest. It's a matter of who's toughest the longest. And there's a lot to be said in that right there because you're in the NFL. They're all going to be tough. Who's going to be the toughest at the end of the ball game when really it gets down to the nitty-gritty?
Cypher's on to punt again. Fred Jackson back at his 10-yard line. Buffalo has no timeouts remaining. They will get the 2-minute warning. Jackson lets it bounce, and it takes a San Diego hop, and it's down at the 4-yard line. Good hustle to get down there by Sheyi Aziria Tutu.
Man, you said that very well.
Waiting for that one.
You were ready.
Don't forget, coming up next, Denver at Seattle, a Super Bowl rematch. Some of you will see the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Miami Dolphins.
I don't think that the game in Seattle is going to be a repeat of the Super Bowl. I think Peyton Manning and company will have a much better plan going in there. I'm not saying they may go in there and win because that is the toughest spot ever, but I think it'll be a better game than we saw in February.
And Seattle is coming off a very disappointing loss where now people are talking about how their mortality is no longer in question by what San Diego did last week. So both of these teams have a lot to prove. I think it is going to be an absolute bloodbath tonight. These are teams that are both going to be trying to make a statement.
2:05 to go. Bills trying to get off one more play before the 2-minute warning, and they don't. And some boos from the fans here after they ran the ball on first down. 2 minutes to play in Buffalo. Bills trail 22-10. No timeouts remaining for the Bills. Manuel lofts one over the middle, and Watkins gets a hand on it, but that was just floated into the secondary by E.J. Manuel.
That was a dangerous throw for sure, but given the situation, you got to take some chances. And I know it's hard, and Sammy Watkins has been protecting bruised ribs for a couple weeks, but he's going to get told in that meeting tomorrow morning, hey, listen, you got to go get that football.
One catch for 3 yards for Sammy Watkins today. Chandler makes this catch for a Buffalo first down, up to the 29-yard line.
Wow. That was quite a collision there. That's a big man, Chandler, running down the middle of the field, 6'6" and about 260 pounds. Richard Marshall ate a bunch of his shoulder pad.
Manuel looking for Jackson there, incomplete.
Once again, the Chargers getting some pressure, now running on some fresh pass rushers. That's one of the keys to these good teams in the NFL. The Bills do it, and now the Chargers do it as well. Run 4 fresh legs. That offensive line doesn't get to be switched out. They're tired, but the defensive linemen, they're substituted for, and they get fresh pass rushers all the time.
Screen to Jackson. Jackson has a first down at the 45-yard line.
Fans are calling for a horse collar.
Yeah, no flag.
Again, Buffalo cannot stop the clock as we take another look.
So the hand's got to be inside the collar. They call the horse collar.
Chandler at midfield and knocked out at the 48-yard line. 1:02 to go. Anti-Teo forcing Chandler out of bounds. Second-year player out of Notre Dame. A lot of the fans have headed for the exits here at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Another screen to Jackson. First down Buffalo to the 37-yard line.
It's going to be interesting to see what the San Diego Chargers decide to do with their running back situation moving forward here.
Manuel throws it out to Watkins. There's his second catch of the day.
A little slow getting up a week. We saw early in the game Danny Woodhead went down. Ryan Matthews, of course, out for several weeks with the MCL. You see Sammy Watkins gets a little bit rolled up there in his feet.
16-yard gain for Watkins, 37 seconds to go. Manuel lost his footing, regains it, finds it to Jackson at the 20, and forced out by Weddle at the 17-yard line.
And this is, for the fans, you know, it's a little frustrating to watch the Bills come out and start to throw these footballs all over the field and see E.J. Manuel complete every pass. But well, let's face it, the San Diego Chargers are right now thinking about the Jacksonville Jaguars next Sunday. They want this game to get over and to get on the plane and go back home, where they start a 2-game stand beginning with Jacksonville. And they're feeling really good about themselves, which is why E.J. Manuel has got plenty of time to do this.
Manuel trying to get out of bounds, and he does. As we take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Buffalo Bills, and they'll be on the road for the next 2 games, traveling to Houston, which earlier today lost to the Giants. You can see that game on CBS, and then at Detroit on October 5th before coming home October the 12th against the Patriots. .20 seconds to go. Manuel low to Jackson and incomplete.
This is where, you know, the game is over for all intents and purposes, but I think if E.J. Manuel could stand in there and make a nice throw to try and end this game on a positive note, thread something in there, I don't care if you take a chance. If I'm Doug Marrone right now and if I'm Nathaniel Hackett, I want him to take a chance, try and make a throw right now to make something happen.
Manuel end zone for Williams, incomplete.
That one he threw right into two defenders and had no chance of being completed. As Mike Williams was up the field, the defenders made a play on the ball. None of the Bills receiver, Mike Williams, couldn't. It's not the kind of throw you want.
But at the same time, I'm glad as a former quarterback to see him at least trying to take a shot, competing, saying, let's try and make a play.
Manuel end zone again, and it's broken up. That was Sharice Wright getting a hand on it with 6 seconds to go.
And right now, Robert Woods, he and E.J. Manuel are out of sync. He looked like he was wanted to go to the corner. E.J. Manuel threw that to the front part of the end zone. Just don't seem to be in sync. And right now, the Bills with their hands on their hips, this has been a no-huddle drive for them. They are gassed at the end of this huddle, trying to get in the end zone.
4th and 10, Manuel throws incomplete, and that will do it. The clock hits 0, and the Chargers win 22-10. E.J. Manuel finishes 23 of 39 for 238 yards, but Phillip Rivers with a big day. 2 touchdown passes for Rivers, both to Eddie Royal. The final score, San Diego 22, Buffalo 10. Coming up next, a Super Bowl rematch between the Broncos and the Seahawks. For Steve Tasker, Steve Berline, this is Andrew Catalon saying so long from Buffalo. Coming up, the NFL Today update will join James Brown after this.